Hey guys, 4Paws here, and today let's talk about 3 things to look out for when playing a melee champion into a ranged matchup. I'll be breaking down a mid Yasuo game, but know that this information will obviously apply to both solo lanes and different champions. The first golden rule to surviving the melee versus range matchup is to accept that in the early game your opponent has the advantage. Even with a champion as mobile and pseudo ranged as Yasuo, Corki has a better level 1 simply because of his auto attack range. You have to understand that until you've got some points in your skills, you should really try to avoid trading with your foe. Although that does depend somewhat on what champions you're both playing, in general you want to look to safely last hit until you're around level 4. As you can see, it's level 1 and only the ranged minions are left. A mistake I'll see a lot of people make is they'll walk forward to greedily last hit those ranged minions. However, the amount of damage you'll take just to grab that 50 gold is seriously not worth it. Experience is your main priority in the early game, so if you're getting poked down just to grab a couple of CS and you're losing out on a ton of experience because you have to base early, you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage. Only walk forward when it's safe to do so. Secondly, you really need to focus on how you're going to manipulate those minion waves. During this level 1 to 4 period of the game, if you mess up the minion waves, a good player can zone you out on all that juicy gold. This is obviously really bad, so don't autopilot and just smack down those creeps as soon as you can. Instead, look for opportunities to pull those minions into a beneficial position for you. More often than not, you'll want to position those minions either just outside your tower range or underneath your own tower, so that your ranged opponent can't bully you too much. As you can see, I hold these caster minions on the cusp of my tower range, and this prevents Corki from really denying me any last hits. I'll try to keep the minions in this kind of area until level 4, and then I'll feel more confident in my ability to counter trade him when I've got those skills ready. And finally, let's touch on some potential openings for kills that will pop up in this lane phase. When playing a melee champion, it's very hard to constantly trade a ranged champion and then come out on top. This is fundamentally because they're a ranged champion. They can kite you, they can chase you down for a few auto attacks, and they can always land that free poke. So if you're going to choose to trade, it's going to be a big trade or a kill opportunity, and you need to know that you're committing really hard to that trade. To improve your chance of coming out on top, try to look for the following conditions before you start going ham. First of all, poor positioning. If your opponent walks a little bit too far forward to land that extra auto attack, you might be able to trade them and then always have your tower nearby to quickly return to if things go a bit bad. Cooldown windows, especially if your ranged opponent blows their escape ability, as these skills have a really high cooldown timer in the early game. And jungle ganks, even though that's quite obvious, but please understand you don't always have to go for that 1 versus 1 outplay, especially when you've got the disadvantage of being a melee champion and they're ranged. There's absolutely nothing wrong with just losing by 10 CS or so, and just waiting it out for a little bit of help. So to show an example of that safer playstyle, in this game I've been focused on matching Corki's CS and not getting poked down. Then all of a sudden, these 3 conditions just line up. First of all, Corki is very overextended as he's clearing the minion line. Secondly, a small cooldown window opens when he blows his Q to just burst down those minions. And finally, with the perfect timing, a jungle gank pops up. So that's going to be all for this video today guys. Remember that playing safe and losing by a few CS during the early game is a lot better than feeding off your tits. There's nothing worse than getting bummed by a teamer that you fed, so save yourself the grief and just play smart and safe. As always, if you liked this video, go and hit that cheeky like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe for future content. Thanks for watching guys, and until next time, take care.